4.
Bueno, a ver, vamos a organizarnos por lo de cenar. Que vayan a, los que se quedan ahora, que vayan a cenar, y otros que nos quedamos aquí.
Well, a very good evening, everybody. Welcome to A Coruña. We have moved to the north of Spain for the second week of this Spanish doubleheader after a brilliant trip to the capital last week. We now move to this fabulous portside town, and we're based just outside it, up on the hills, overlooking the coast in this amazing facility, this beautiful indoor arena that has become a staple part of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup. And of course, the round for that takes place here on Sunday. Tonight is the qualifier for that. It is one round of jumping faults in time. The Caixabank Trophy, 105,500 euros in the prize fund, and a world-class lineup of horses and riders. Faults in time, one round of jumping. Tomorrow night, the Grand Prix. Tonight, it is the qualifier for the World Cup on Sunday. Santiago Valera, the course designer, builds this one. He's given them a total of 13 numbered fences. Lucky for you, lucky for some. 16 different jumping efforts, 75 seconds if the time does become relevant. Of course, the winter edition of Casas Novas, this amazing facility where next summer the European Championships will be held in the outdoor arena. Looking forward to a lot of great sport from this amazing venue. And tonight we will have a very exciting competition, especially if this man hits form. He's already taken the win in the opening class after second with this horse in the World Cup round in Madrid last Sunday. Here we go, Mikey Pender and the Bravo Hughes, HHS Los Angeles, the 10-year-old mare by Leroy, out of that beautiful Irish sports, or out of a mare by the beautiful Irish sports horse stallion Cavalier Royale. But sadly, it is not to be. Big build-up. I mean, he absolutely flew in the 145 ranking class a little bit earlier on. 2 strides coming out of that combination. 1.50 meter this evening. Really holding back off the corner. Three strides, and that's gone as well. Over the World Cup fence. Swinging round to what is fence number 12. Eight strides, and that's a tiny little plank at the end. So he has picked up time, 79.73, but I guess never really looked like he was pushing, not like he was when he arrived a little earlier. But with the fence going down, a different sort of approach, and of course he had this final part of the line. Fascinating. I mean, you got the double, it's like a double of water trays just on 3 strides. That came quite short, quite quick, although Los Angeles big horse, big stride. Now, we move our attention to this young star from Liechtenstein. We made this reference a couple of times last week in Madrid, and of course here again. It's great to see these young jockeys really shining through. Mikey Pender is one of those. This lady is certainly becoming another. This is Golden Lady for the 21-year-old from Liechtenstein. She rode at her first senior championships last year in Milan. It's very much a top ride at the moment. Took her to 4th in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup of Verona back at the beginning of November. You can see the confidence. She's got a couple of newish rides. I say newish. She's had them for a couple of months, which she's still getting to know like we need to. But here we're Golden Lady. You can see that Confidence makes such a difference. Handles the 3 stride. She's doing a brilliant job at the moment, landing out of there in around about 44 seconds. Ended up getting too deep. She also went on the 8, which is the same as Michael went. She came on a slightly tighter inside line, and Jennifer, 73 seconds, well inside on the clock of that 75. But unfortunately, having the final fence down, there will inevitably be, as is always the case, some riders looking to push harder than others in these sorts of classes. Even with such a big prize fund, I would think the majority will go for it, but you just never know. And I just wonder, it's a big wide parallel to set them up for that line. If anyone will try and get there on 7 to win it, we'll find out. We've got a lot of jumping to come. 45 still to go tonight. Live with you here in Casas Novas in Coruña. Right, this is the turn of Canada's Cara Chad, of course, World Championship rider from 2018. Tonight riding Igor GPH, the 11-year-old by Harley. This was the horse that she rode to victory in the Porsche Cup in Barcelona alongside the Longines League of Nations final. That CSIO 5-star back in October. That was a similar sort of class, in memory serves me correctly, because it was a 150, it was a 1 round, it was faults in time, and she is off and running again. To shorten up a little bit to get the 6 on the run in to the combination, but she's keeping it pretty smooth as it stands. Able to shorten and lengthen where she needs. Comes up to the double 9AB. 1 stride. Out and then 4. 6 on the curve. Now what does she do when she comes round to these final 2? I would think she'll stick to the 8. Well, she went on the 7. Oh, and she's done it. 67.48. We are now off and running here tonight in our Coruña. The Caixabank Trophy comes alive. Igor Cara Chad, 67.48, leading the way early on. Only the 3rd to go. And what, in all fairness, is, did a brilliant job over the plank there. She got her striding absolutely spot on, but really now opening the door to say to all of them, if you're going to come and join me, you're going to have to push quite hard. Hopefully, from her perspective, she'll have done enough to at least force a few errors en route to ultimately keep her where she sits. Now, Jarina J, Pieter Devos up next. Jarina's looking wonderful as ever. Lovely 10-year-old mare by Cicero Z van Paramel. Had a big win with this horse in Stuttgart. Of course, the German Masters in the 2-rounder just a few weeks back. Also found his way onto the podium in the 150 in Lyon. Oh dear, that was a whole new attempt at a whole new line. He just couldn't quite squeeze in and get over, but Jarina is pretty agile, pretty flexible. She's listens and works with Pieter. Well, at the end of it all, it's a total of 12. 3 fences have fallen, 12 faults is scored, 70.72 on the clock. Pieter Devos not tonight on Dorina J, but showing what is possible. Just going to need a little bit more balance on the turn. And that final plank going down, I think, will be something we'll see more and more of as this class speeds up. Right, this could well be quite some challenge from Spain. Alvaro Gonzalez de Zanata Fernandez with the really exciting 9-year-old mare Casadiva PS. This by Kalisco. Started the season with a brilliant win back in March in that Grand Prix in Verrières. Then, and of course, you have that summer tour, Jerez, Sarriego, Coruña, where those lovely shows up here in the north of Spain, finishes at the 4-star here in the summer. And he won the Grand Prix in the 2-star in Jerez with this horse. He then had a lovely win in the 4-star in Coruña. Back up in the north of Spain at the end of August in Lyon, where he won the winning round competition. He had a good trip out to Rabat, and he was looking pretty confident again in Madrid last week. He was working coming out of the double. I mean the combi. Well, 67.48. I would suggest he's not going to be far away from that, is he? In fact, he's going to get awfully close. Is he going to be quicker? Could it be Spain already on top? It's going to be tight. 67.96. He's gone second. Half a second. That is the difference. Great effort. Really fabulous effort there from Alvaro. And that, I mean, she is such a quality mare. She puts the effort in. And he really knows how to ask the question so that he gets the right answer. And Casadiva PS moves up into second. So 67.96. Is that an indication as well of how fast Cara actually went? 67.48. It's still too early really to tell. Tremendous to see this lady here. Of course, she's had her share of success in the past. Former winner of the World Cup round and Grand Prix here. It is Edwina Tops-Alexander for Australia. Corelli de Mi, the 13-year-old gelding by Calvaro FC. Pretty consistent record at this level with Edwina. She's put in some solid rounds on the global tour across the season. Also had a little bit of time off after Valkenswaard in September, then went to Verona in November. Very much looking a little bit more towards Sunday. Wants to get the clear, huge scopy jump. Couple of time penalties It's always, like I said, if you're going to get time penalties, 1, 2, 3, absolutely fine, because it's really no different to just, in these sorts of classes, just having a slightly slower time. It's the moment you pick up 4 that you're in trouble. So, Kùhner Chad holding on to the top, 2 official 0 scores, and now to Norway, Gulliksen and her perhaps horse of a lifetime, really, Equine America Papa Roach, the ride that took her to her first ever Longines World Cup win for her career last year, and has been such an instrumental part of launching her up through the world rankings and to major championships. Really all started in 2021 with that top 10 individual finish in Riesenbeck at the Europeans. She went on to ride at the World Cup final and the Europeans, and then of course with her exciting ride, Mr. van Vogelsang, had her opportunity to compete at her first ever Olympics in Paris this year. Papa Roach now 15, is gelding by Perigueux. Fresh back from jumping in Stockholm last week. They had that top 4 finish in the Grand Prix in Oslo. Had a little rub on 1 or 2, just moving a little bit left to right, now moves back into the middle. It's not as fast as the top 2, but she's not actually that far behind, and she's come to the last, which she's jumped. Where does she stop? 68.55. It's actually only a second away from Kùhner Chad. Vicky Gulliksen, brilliant. Well done. Papa Roach, Equine America Papa Roach there, giving us the 3rd of those 0 scores. A little bit worried here because she sort of moved over to the right, and of course that meant she had to push back to the left. There's the bell for the next. Flying up the world rankings, we move up to the Longines ranked world number 5. He's gone up a place since last month. He was 6, he's now 5 in the latest set of rankings. Max Kùhner. Here he is with EIC Anton SBKZ, the lovely stallion by Arco. It's a horse again that has just gradually been getting stronger and stronger over the course of this year. But it's really given Max a lot of confidence. He's jumped in some pretty big classes really from the summer. Coming home nicely. He's again just a little bit down in terms of the overall times. Max seems to have a gear with that stallion that he sets the horse in and then he knows he's going to get a really solid round. He did that last week and then just snuck in with a time penalty in that winning round and got himself into the final part of that. As we move on now to the first up for the Dutch, Kim Emmen. This 11-year-old stallion is called Nash van het Lilleveld. by Tonoxy out of a Toulon mare. This is one of those horses Kim's just been taking time with, really. Certainly through the course of this year. And that fence goes down. It's only the third or fourth time she's jumped 150 with Nash. Although she did jump in the 6 bar the other day, but the stallion has shown his potential. But when you sort of have a look back at the classes they've been jumping in over the course of this year, there's just been a real gradual case of working their way back up through the levels. He's been with Kim for a couple of years, jumping up to 145, and then she dropped him back down again. And now she's building him back up, but he seems to be building up really well. Unfortunately, tonight he's picked up time on top of jumping, so it's a total of 11. Van Lilleveld, 77.94 on the clock, and still Cara Chad leads the way here tonight in Coruña. 67.48 is the best of the times. Moving on, tension turns to Germany. First of their riders here this evening is Marco Kutscher. Bringing a wealth of experience, and also with this 11-year-old stallion, he has Aventador. Bronze medalist back in 2004 in those Athens Olympics. Big hit to that first fence, and although the camera moved off it, I'm surprised we didn't see 4 penalties crop up, because that sort of noise normally indicates a fence has gone down. On this occasion, it hasn't. By Armitage out of a Charming Boy mare. He was part of the Nations Cup team with this horse in Verheer back in October. Jumped well in Stuttgart. Nice smooth round of jumping. How quick does it turn out to be? 67.48, and again he's going to get awfully tight here. This is smooth, this is good. Where is he going to be? How tight? He got away with a big bash at the first, but Marco Kutscher left it standing. And 67.05, that was an impressive round of jumping, because at no point did Aventador look flustered. It was so smooth from start to finish. He didn't need to take that cheeky little inside turn that I do think after the combination is on. But he's found half a second on Cara Chad with that round. Very impressive bit of riding from Marco. Well done to him, and to Aventador S, the stallion there by Armitage. So the standard is that little bit better. The time is that a little bit lower, 67.05. Who's the first to break in to the 66-second mark? What about this young man, superstar from Switzerland, but has very much become part of their top string of jockeys, alongside the likes of Steven Martin, the 25-year-old Swiss star. Edouard Schmitz riding here with Gammon van Nastelhoff. his Olympic ride, his championship ride from the last couple of years. Gamin who's by Chaco Chaco out of a Toulon mare. Oh, that's unfortunate. He hasn't jumped this horse since Helsinki. He had that brilliant second place with Gamin in the World Cup round in Oslo back in October, the opening leg of the Western European League. Eight in 72.81. Edouard Schmitz there for the Swiss. So not going to work out from their perspective this evening. Unlike the last class, of course, all these riders just with the one horse in this competition. Kuchikara Chad, the 1 and 2. Alvaro Gonzalez, Desavrat Fernandez sitting in third. Vicky Gulliksen, Max Kùhner, those are your top 5, and they are all on a 0. Italy with plenty of strength in their rider lineup. And Guido Grimaldi, the first of the Italian riders, with the nicely named Messi 7, the 11-year-old by Messenger out of a Chaco Blue mare. First time for these two since Verona. Jumped here with this horse 12 months ago. Unfortunately, he's had a fence down this year and another 2 in a row. Never quite looked straight. Which is on the 12, 70.25 is that final score. So that was the first of the Italian riders, Guido Grimaldi and Messi 7. Where are we looking to next? Combination next up is for France. First of 2 in a row for France. Olivier Robert at Esprit de Figurier AA, the 10-year-old stallion by Upsilon, will have, I'm sure, had good memories from their trip to Spain 12 months ago in the Madrid or Coruña double header, where they had a win in Madrid and a second here in Coruña. And he's a horse that has got good pace, has picked up other wins across the season, has put in some impressive rounds. Even on the global tour, jumped into the top 5 in the Vanguardia Trophy in Barcelona. It's a horse that he hasn't overused. Yeah, this is a lovely stallion. That's a shame, because this is quick. 65.31. Olivier Robert showing that the time that leads the way is more than a little bit vulnerable. That was nearly 2 seconds faster than Marco Kutscher. But it is 4 faults and a fence down. Just slight misjudgment on that second to last is what's cost him going to the top. Well, we're going to stay with France. Back up into the world's top 15 for Kevin Stout and Beau de Lobrized, the 11-year-old star. This gelding by Biscuit Baloo that has had another quite brilliant season. Of course, has ridden on teams alongside that amazing Grand Prix win in Dinard. He had a lovely win in Rome. Also taking a big jump-off win out in Spruce Meadows back in September. Perhaps hasn't quite had that level of form since he's gone indoors, although he did finish in 7th place in the World Cup round in Verona. He's keeping up a really good pace again. He's not looking flustered. He's keeping it all very calm. But even when you're calm, that can still happen. Of course, that's the man that will start the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup here on Sunday, on top of the table on the Western European League. Will he still be there come the end of the day? I would suggest he's going to need a big result. Kevin, he was the epitome of consistency at picking up points when it comes to the Western European League. It's always notable, and it always stands him in good stead to get qualified for the final. Now, moving on to the USA, Anna de Rijden riding Knight van de Kwakkelhoek, and I hope I've said that correctly. The 11-year-old stallion by Gilbert van Richthof is out of a Toulon mare. Horse has got a pretty good record at this height. Speak too soon. $77.5, so time penalties adding on to the jumping. Anna Dryden there for the USA. Goes into 10th. Still just 5-0 scores. Edwina Tops-Alexander sitting in 6th on that score of 2. And the fast 4 in 7th. Very fast 4 in 7th. We've seen both Kevin Stout and Olivier Robert prove the time can be beaten. 67.05. Marco Kutscher leads, though. That's the fastest on a 0 score. A lot of jumping to come tonight. This FEI Jumping World Cup qualifier for Sunday's World Cup round here in Coruña. It's the turn of Sweden next. Angelica Augustsson Zanotelli, husband Marlon to come a little later. How close will it get this week after that 100th of a second difference between the two of them last week on the opening night in Madrid when Marlon had delivered the opening clear, was in the lead of the class. Angelica comes in and 0.01 of a second. She finished just behind him. In the end, it was 3rd and 4th, but it was a tremendous battle. It was great to watch. Big smiles all round. This is Desi de Concrier, 11-year-old mare. It was the horse that Marlon rode at the Pan Am Games last year, and the horse that she took to 4th in that class behind Marlon last week. It's also it's had a great run because it was 3rd on the podium in the big international Grand Trophy in Helsinki in the show previous to going to Madrid. Marco Kutscher's under pressure. This is good. Angelica looks quick. Just not sure it'll be quick enough when she gets to the line. 67.05. That's your leading time. She's just a bit down. 69.61. Great effort. Faster than Max Kùhner, but it is only 5th. And now with 6 clears. She's happy enough with that, though. She, of course, looking to get qualified and sorted for Sunday. And puts herself very much into the money. Real mix of nations in the top 6 clear round slots. Germany, Canada, Spain, Norway, Sweden and Austria. What about a chance for the next to go for Ireland? Jenny Rankin. Superb jockey tonight with Ibiza. This 11-year-old by Charlotte Demuse for the 28-year-old from Ireland. She's built a super rapport with this horse, and Michael Blake, of course, the chef de keep for Ireland, has called upon Jenny on a few occasions over the course of this season with this ride. Most recently, it's unfortunate, but most recently was in Rabat. She also was on the team that finished on the podium in 2nd in the EEF Nations Cup final, but just diving a little bit at the first part of that. Not really showing the form we've seen over the course of the season. Well, unfortunately, it's a total of 8, 71.46, a year that is nearly complete, that started back in Florida at the beginning of the year, and as I say, really seen her move forward with that horse, jumping on several teams. Unfortunately, today sees her finish on a score of 8, Jenny Rankin and Ibiza. Next up, certainly another chance for the Spanish crowd to get behind. It's a full house again this evening. Tremendous atmosphere in this building. There always is. They love the sport. Armando Trapote and the Carthago Blue. He's having a little look around with his 12-year-old gelding by Candagos. Looking very cool, calm, collected. Is the bell gone? I think the bell's on a hold at the moment. Yeah. Swapping the horses round, he had Captain Hook in Madrid last week. Of course, he's got that wonderful horse Tornado that took him to the Europeans in Milan last year. Be disappointed with that. I was just trying to think how new this horse is to him, and I would say very new, because this is the horse that Iken Saito rode in Paris, for those of you that may or may not remember. Iken, of course, the Japanese rider. And took this horse down to Verrières. He finished 5th in that 3-star Grand Prix back at the beginning of November. And this is their first show since then, so it's actually only 3rd show together for those two. A little bit of time to bring it all together. Great horse to have in the team. Carthago Blue, Armando Trapote tonight on a score of 4. Well, Great Britain's Tim Gredley goes next. Another brilliant year from this man. British teams, including the winning team at Hickstead, the All England jumping course back in July. He stood on the podium with Ben Mayer, Robert Whittaker and the great John Whittaker, winning it, the British team, for the 2nd year in a row. Tim, who's also though had some fine, not only team performances across the year, I mean he was within a whisker of being part of the Olympic setup, but of course there's some great international individual results as well. This is Medoc de Toxandria by Dear Sinat. Very much been that sort of standout star ride, but has been able to show some quite brilliant performances. He had that 6th place in the Grand Prix in Barcelona, top 5 in the major Grand Prix out in Spruce. You know what, he's not hanging around, is he? I'm not quite sure if he'll be one way or the other on terms of the time. He's just behind 68, 64. He's getting tight. That compression at times, of course, makes it even harder. If you start giving up any sort of time, you can fall instead of 1 place, 2 places, you end up 3, 4 or 5 places down. In fact, Tim has gone into 5th, 68.64. He's 1.5 seconds off the lead. And it's a difference of 5 places, but it does keep him ahead of Angelica Augustsson, Zanotelli and Max Kùhner. 7 clear rounds, and it's that level of consistency that Maddock's got that is always so impressive. It is Olivier Philippaerts up next. This 9-year-old mare. Popemiek, JW van Morhova. Vigera Sui. Out of the Diamant de Semeli mare. It's a 9-year-old mare. Jumped out in Riyadh. And part of the global finals. Put in some good 5-star rounds over the course of this year. He had some impressive rounds at Le Bull and in Rome. Of course, he had a 4-star win at 150 in Valkenswaard. But this is a lovely mare that is, I mean, he must be really excited looking ahead to 2025 with the way she's been jumping. That's a shame. Eight come the end, 2 fences go. And it actually turned out to be a bit steadier in terms of the time, but 70.79, 2 fences full, 8 the score for Olivier Philippaerts. He's also got brother Thibault jumping here this week. Another challenge for France, 3 before the break. If anyone's wondering, in this class we have got a 10-minute pause at the halfway mark, and there are 3 more before we have that little breather. Well, Marco Kutscher leads, but this is the sort of partnership that could lead by the end of their round if they can bring it all together. We know from experience that Dirty Sweet and Philippe Rozier have got a lot of pace. They'll need it all to come together with this mare, the Korda-Blensky mare, the 11-year-old. She's got a great track record at picking up the prizes. She found her way into the top 3 in that 145 Fulton time last week in Madrid. He jumped her in the World Cup final on Sunday. Keeping it clear at the moment. Clock is ticking. He's around 10 seconds away. He's going to make this awfully tight. Philippe Rozier looking to try and bring himself into play with Dirty Sweet. Where does he land? 67.99. He's gone 4th. And yet again, another dives in to that very tight group. Top 6 now split by 1.5 seconds. That is it. And Philippe Rozier finds a gap 0.03 of a second slower than the man who sits 1 place ahead of him in 3rd. That is Alvaro and Casadeva. So still Marco Kutscher, though, holding on at the top, despite the fact we know you can find a lot of pace on this course. The two that have, both have had a fence down. Now to Brazil. He lit up the timing sheets last week with Zezento on a Friday night in Madrid. What can he do with GB Diamantina on a Friday night in A Coruña? Marlon Zanotelli with the 12-year-old by Diamant de Semelli. This is the combination in November that went to Verona and won the big winning round competition. It was also his ride in the Longines League of Nations final. It's been a very consistent sort of big jumping team horse as well, bringing on several teams over the course of the summer. He took this horse to Madrid last week, although interestingly, he only jumped in the 6th part. Oh, there we go. We've been waiting to see somebody do it and make it work. And this is a man that is here to do one thing, win. But can he? With that turn, he certainly helped himself. Got a lovely stride. You can see there was a little moment where the balance shifted. It went left-right on the first part of that combination. And whether that just caused a little bit of tightening up, there was nothing he could do. But sadly, the fence has gone. Well, for the score, 67-30. Actually, I mean, it's hard to tell because once he'd had just that little bit of a jink, it almost just like a little sort of misstep, loss of balance. You could just see Marlon not as comfortable, but it was obvious in the jump. But unfortunately, I mean, the time would have still gone into second. On we go. To take us up to the break, Daniel Deusser. Great to see Daniel moving, climbing his way back up those Longines World Rankings. Of course, he's one of the most successful riders in the sport. He has won so many big classes. You know, in the last 2 years, you know, in fact, I was looking at the thing, it was 2 years ago, he was at World number 7. That would have been November 2022, and then of course, he dropped all the way down to world number 67, sort of by the beginning of this year. And then he has just gradually been climbing his way back up. And the latest ranking list, he came out the other day, he's up to world number 18. And I do not doubt it will not be long before he's back in the 10. And at the moment, he's after more ranking points tonight with Vitello de Guldenblum. He is doing a tremendous job. This is quick. 67.05. Daniel Deusser is about to move to the top. It's going to be Germany 1, Germany 2. Daniel Deusser 63.97. Where did that come from? That's an unreal time. You have got to applaud that man's talent. Absolutely brilliant. He got that lovely inside and he made it so smooth. Of course, the smoothness is absolute key. He took the horses out to Mexico through October and November. And he won some big classes out there, but it really, you've got that tour situation as well. It really brings the horses on, and it's really benefited them. And Otello, what a time. That could well be the winning round. We will find out. It might not. You're going to have to stay with us. We're going to take a little pause. There's a 10-minute break for the arena maintenance, and then we still have 24 to go. Daniel Deusser has just put a marker in the sand. But make sure you stay with us. There's some massive names, some great combinations still to come. There's a lot of excitement. This class isn't done yet. We'll be back. Welcome back, or welcome along, as I say. Mainly welcome along for the ride. It is a great night with Germany 1 and 2. Could it be Germany 1, 2 and 3? There's no reason to think not, because this man knows how to win here in Coruña. He's done it before in the Grand Prix. And he's going to have to try and chase down Daniel Deusser, who has just rewritten the script in terms of what we were beginning to think might be quick. It is now a leading time, 63.97. Otello and Daniel Deusser just before the break, setting a new standard. Marco Kucharczyk second on 67.05. So there we go. It really is quite a lead. Well, next to go, it is the turn of Philippe Weishaupt and the great Kobe. One of the stars of the sport, this horse. Superb 5-star Grand Prix winner. The 14-year-old now, Kobe 8, is gelding by Contagio. Of course, was in great form out in Riyadh. Had another very consistent and solid year across the global tour. That's unfortunate. You can see he's going to easily beat Marco Kucharczyk's time, 66.32, but it wouldn't have been anywhere near Daniel's time. And it's going to take quite an impressive round of jumping to get anywhere near, never mind beat the performance of Daniel Deusser. But either way, Philippe Weishaupt misses out because he has a score of 4. More than any other reason. And sadly, it isn't to be with Kobe, but keep an eye on them over the coming days as we move on. Because as that poll goes back up, in comes the second of the two for Great Britain, Robert Whittaker. That's Robert, the winner in Helsinki with the wonderful Vermento. Shall I start that again? And this, though, is Gentleman Van Het Villehoff. We saw Tim Gradley jumping the other British rider a little earlier, and this is a horse that Tim has had on his yard. It's in fact owned by the Unex competition yard, Tim's team. 18 years young, this stallion now. It's been a real star. David Simpson to the Queen's Cup win. Joe Clayton's had a tremendous run with it as well. And Robert only actually started riding this horse last week in Madrid. But he's a superb all-round jockey, followed in his dad's footsteps, of course. His dad, the legend that is John Whittaker. It's a shame. It's been great to watch Robert across the World Cup circuit. Of course, he, along with the other Brits, will all be heading to London next. It's the next leg of the tour. London International Horse Show at Excel in 2 weeks' time. 68.70 and a score of 4 for Robert Whittaker and Gentleman Van Het Villehoff. And that's getting closer to clicking in. And once that happens, I think they'll be able to push a little bit harder. This was the one that went down. Just a gentle little roll at the front of the 3 strides. So we move on to the combination for Italy back into the world's top 40. Lorenzo De Luca. Just making a little stirrup adjustment. It's unusual, but I thought you would have. It's not often. Of course, girths you see getting changed all the time. It's just not often you see a stirrup getting changed in length in the arena. Coulson 86, this 16-year-old now by Collerit. Had a good run in Verona. Finished there in the top 6 in the accumulator. Also, prior to that, was very well placed in Lier. It's been a hugely successful horse because it had a lot of time off after Barcelona last year. Didn't actually come back until July of this year, and then it's just been a case of building up again, and this is still part of that process. Got very over to the right, but now he's got this turn back. He's not going to be quick, but if he's clear, I think he'll be feeling like it's mission accomplished, and another tick in the box on the comeback there for Coulson 86 and Lorenzo De Luca. Looking ever stronger. One of the Powden Farms horses. Trying to find the next one. Our camera will pick them up because next to go, Marcus Henning. Tremendous performance with this horse last week in Madrid to finish in 4th in the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup, the Grand Prix of the city of Madrid. Less than 2 seconds off the lead, finishing in 4th. It was Piergiorgio Bucci, Mikey Pender, Michael van der Vleut and Marcus Henning. And then it was Max Kùhner. Those were the 5 double clears. It's 11-year-old Irish sports horse by Remez Derev. You can see he's not doing anything other than just trying to keep it nice and smooth. Of course, he's not wasting time. When does Marcus waste time? But he's not making it look like he's trying to chase down that leading time of Daniel Duis's. Although, to be fair to Marcus, even a relatively smooth round at this point could still turn out to be a half-decent round. Well, there's another clear. We've got 11 of them now, 70.26. It is steady. But it's now 3 for Germany in the top 10 as Marcus joins that. Of course, Germany 1 and 2 with Daniel Duis and Marco Kutscher. A lot of jumping still to come. 20 more to go before Daniel Duis knows if he's done enough or not. Here you go. Here he is. Diego Ramos Minero, Catando. Ooh, hello. Young man that finished second in the Grand Prix in Coruña, back in the summertime in the 4-star outside in that beautiful, massive outdoor arena. This stallion by Veritien. into the Europeans at the Young Rider Championships last year. Of course, he is still only 22. He's had a few team outings as well for Spain in that EES series. This was the horse that he finished, I'm not sure if I was clear enough on that, in second place in that Grand Prix here in the summer. He managed the top 10 on the first day, and then he was second in the Grand Prix. That isn't going to help tonight. As it says on the screen, it's a total of 8, 70.51. Unfortunately for the young man from Spain, Diego Ramos Minero, Arcadando CSG. Best for Spain. Still the first to go from Spain. Alvaro Gonzalez de Zarate Fernandez and the 9-year-old mare Casadiva PS sitting up in 4th place. That was the only Spanish rider inside, well, the clears. Jeanne Sadran, star from France. What a star ride in a lot of respects. The horse that took her to the World Cup final in Riyadh this year. It is Dexter. Dexter de Cleglen, the 11-year-old stallion by my Lord Cargo. It's the horse that took her to the win in the Global Grand Prix in Paris back in June, and then took her into 4th in the Global Grand Prix in Monaco. Fortunately, that's gone down. Not the first I've had it this evening. Daniel's really put a lot of pressure on them if they're going to try and chase him. $70.91. Jeanne Sadran, sadly on 4, thanks to de Cleglen. So there for France. We've got another for France in a moment. In fact, I was just having a little look as we go back to the replay and watch the fence going down at the next little run of riders and horses, but run of horses and riders, therefore, coming forward. So we've got Daniel Deusser, 63.97, Marco Kutscher in second, 67.05. So there is quite a gap. I would say over the next 7 or 8 horses, potentially if the lead of this class is going to change, it will change. It could start right now, but there is a group of really competitive riders and horses that I would have a little bit of a feeling will try. This is certainly one of them. Farah Tame and France's Julien Anquetin, the 9-year-old mare he's riding. It's by Guido Tame. As the saying goes, if he leaves them up, there's no reason to think he won't be as quick. He could even be quicker than Daniel. But he's taken that slightly wider line, but it's a horse that'll be more confident, I would have thought, making up the time between the fences with that gallop. But I certainly wouldn't be surprised. In fact, I will be surprised if somebody hasn't filled the gap between Daniel and Marco over the next 6 rounds. But it's not going to be this man, as is the case, as I'm always reminded with these classes, because so often we all call them speeds and they're not. Now, of course, speed is important, but jumping comes first. As a great man once said to me, his name was John Doney, and he always used to remind me, it's not a speed, it's a faults and time competition, Gareth. And it is true, you've got to jump it first. Yes, you've got to jump it quickly if you can. And the last as well, 65.32. He proved my point in terms of the speed. He would have filled the gap, but I'll go back to what I said a moment ago. So no good, sadly, for Julien Anquetin. Still another within the mix to come from France in a short while. We'll see how they get on. And this class has got plenty of pace, even outside of the next 6 or so. I mean, the further down the list I start to look, the more I start to think, actually, you know, Daniel he's done all he can, but there is every chance it could yet change. It's a small chance, but there is a chance. Leopold van Asten, VDL Group Chiara, superb last week in Madrid on the winning round night. Can he repeat that sort of form? Because if he can, this 9-year-old Met by Clearway could also have a part to play. Could certainly beat Marco Kùhner and get himself up into second with the sort of pace he showed less than a week ago. He's come inside, he's happy to. He finished in 4th in that winning round in Madrid. Keeping it tidy so far. Doing a brilliant job here. He's got 2 fences left to go, but where's it going to put him? Is it going to be fast enough to get ahead of Marco Kùhner? He's not going to be fast enough to get ahead of Daniel Deusser, but it is going to be tight for second. Surely, yes, he has. So the gap has been filled. I didn't have to wait too long, fortunately, for that prophecy to come true. Leopold van Asten, well done, and thank you. VDL Group Chiara, nicely done indeed. She is lovely. What a beautiful, beautiful mare, chestnut mare. Really having a tremendous run of form between these 2 big shows in Spain. Well, of course, there's me mentioning the man that finished 4th and the horse that finished 4th in that winning round last week. Let's talk about the man and the horse that won it. And he won it well. He was the class of the town in Madrid, in the city, just a few days back. The Saturday night was all about Hans-Dieter Dreyer and Westermel de Cortis, and he's already looking to try and make that a Friday night of fun here in A Coruña, because that was beautifully done and smooth, and this would be, and even Daniel would know, this is one of the big threats. Ooh, lucky. He'd done a brilliant job just sitting back and waiting. Great demonstration of the patience, but look how fast they are on the turn. I said last week, these 2 know each other so very, very well. And that trust really helps when you're trying to go this quickly. Surely Daniel Deus is going to come under pressure here. 63.97. It is going to come down to the run to the last. There's going to be very little in this. Could it be? Could it be? Oh, it is! Hans-Dieter Drer. He's done it on a Friday, what he did on a Saturday in Madrid. Friday night, at the moment, is his night in Coruña. Wow. He is certainly, with Esteban Cotis, having quite some trip to Spain. And it is Germany 1, Germany 2 again. But on this occasion, 62.33. I mean, that's a second and a half to all intents and purposes faster than Daniel. Was it the winning round? Well, like I said, there was a run of riders that made you think this class wasn't done yet. Shall we move to the next? The world number 1, Henrik von Eckermann, Tovex Azaria Dinero. There's a reason this man has been the Longines ranked world number 1 rider for the last 29 months. 29 months. What is he able to do? The 14-year-old mare by my Lord Carthago. Of course, it's relatively new in terms of his team. It was Evelina Tovex. Of course, she stepped back. Tovex family staying as huge supporters to Henrik. And you just think tonight's the night. You can see it already. He's going to try. She really holds herself in the air. He really has to push her forward on landing. He almost sort of looks like she wastes a little bit of time because she's so careful. She really wants to get up and over. But Henrik, going a little bit down the left, he's had to come back into the middle. 62.33. How long is Hans-Dieter Drer going to stay in front of this class? Because the world number 1 is chasing him. It's going to get tight. Where's he going to be? Can he beat Hans? Ah, the world number 1. He's gone second. 63.66. He's 0.3 of a second faster than Daniel Deus. Oh, what a class. What a Friday night. The Caixabank Trophy is dishing us up this evening. Well, it really has shuffled the pack at the top of the order. It is no longer Germany 1 and Germany 2. I mean, it was a little while ago. Marco Kutscher, who, 3 horses ago was sitting in second, has now dropped down to 5th. Daniel Deus, who was leading, is down to 3rd. It is Hans-Dieter Drer, Henrik von Eckermann, Daniel Deus, your 1, 2, 3. What about these two? Well, number 13, lucky for him, lucky for some. Could it be tonight? We will see. This, of course, is Simon Deleste and Dexter Fontinus Z. There goes the bell for this 11-year-old gelding for the Olympic team bronze medal winner. This was the horse he took to the Europeans last year. He took to 3rd in the Grand Prix. He's going to go the long way round, but he's happy to run. Look at that. 3rd in the Grand Prix in Lyon, back at the start of November. Oh, swift. Beautifully balanced so far. Still not done. What riding we're getting to see this evening. What a class this is turning into. Can he get there? Where's it going to put him? Surely. Can he get there? He's going to be very tight. 60. He's gone into 2nd place. Hans holds on. Simon Deleste Dexter Fontinus Z jumps into second, and Henrik now down to third. Daniel Deusser, who brought this class to life just before the break with that magnificent round at 63.37, is down to fourth. It is Germany, France, Sweden, the 1, 2, 3. Hans, Simon, and Henrik. What an amazing competition this is turning into. Well, Ireland have a go. Denis Lynch, Mr. Boombastic. Gelding by Vigaracy. I mean, after the rounds we've been watching, Dennis, you've got a lot to live up to. As I've learned on occasion, never rule this man out of anything. That didn't go as well in Riyadh as we've seen, but certainly put in some cracking rounds out in Riyadh. We'll see the issue a little bit now. Hans-Dieter Dreyer, 62.33. And Hans actually still holds a 1 second advantage over Simon Deleste, 63.49. And Ennis's chance goes with that back rail. Over the Casas Novas fence, Denis Lynch, Mr. Bombastic. It is 4, 71.40. As you can see, dropping down the order. Well, if nothing more, it gave us a chance to get our breath back after what has quite simply been breathtaking sport. Amazing horsemanship, riding. What horses we've got in this class tonight, and the riders certainly able to so far show them at their best. Hans-Dieter Dreyer, they're the best of the best for the moment. Ahead of Simon Deleste, Henrik von Eckermann, Daniel Deusser, Leopold van Asten, and the previously second placed Marco Kutscher, who has fallen all the way to 6th. Well, we're not done yet. What about this man and what about this horse? 2 individual Olympic bronze medals, including the one in Paris this year, to follow Tokyo. Of course, in the middle of that, he won the individual bronze at the World Championship with this horse as well. They certainly are one of the great horse and rider combinations of the era. This 14-year-old gelding Beauville ZNOP, and of course Michael van der Vleuten. I just have a suspicion that Michael will be thinking a little bit more towards Sunday than tonight. Then again, happy to be wrong. No, I was wrong. Ooh, a little bit of a slip slide. Powered off that corner. They're also super careful. I'm sure there'd be more pace if Michael was asking, but at the moment he's in a fast enough rhythm to make himself known on that leaderboard. Whether he can quite chase down that top time, there won't be a huge amount in it. Where's he going to bring himself? Michael van der Vleuten, 64-64, best of the Dutch, into fifth. He's ahead of Leopold van Asten, who now drops into sixth, for Marco Kùhner down to seventh. What a turnaround. The top of the board has really sort of rolled around like a little bit of a fruit machine over the past 7 or 8 rounds. You know, to me, if this had been Sunday's Grand Prix and that had been a jump off, or I should say Sunday's World Cup, the Grand Prix comes tomorrow in Coruña. But you could have seen those two going faster, but it's not that sort of night. It's not that sort of course. What about the man from Denmark? There's the bell for Napoli. Van den Nesterhof for Andreas Schou. 11-year-old gelding by President up next. This was again his Olympic ride this summer. Took him into the top 5 in that Global Grand Prix in Monaco, Monte Carlo back in July. Playing a little bit more sensible. We're actually up to 16 clears. I almost could say 17, because of course Edwina sat there on the 2-time penalties. So the single fence falling now becomes quite costly, and how far down the order it would drop you. Again, a very different approach. He wants the double clear, or wants the clear, so double clear. He's got the 3 penalties, but 3 is fine. He was 600ths of away from having the worst possible score, which is 4-time penalties. Of course, because 4-time penalties drops you below all those that had a fence down, because you will be slower than them. Well done there. Napoli goes into 18th place. The next up certainly was one of the stars for Spain in Madrid. To be fair, she's been one of the stars of Spain all year long with her performances. She had that fabulous Grand Prix win in San Diego back in the summertime. She then went on to put in some great results all the way through. She, of course, went out to Morocco. I was trying to remember the name of the country, where she picked up plenty of good scores and results. 3rd in the World Cup round out there. And then last Saturday night, the man that leads, as I said, won the winning round. These two came second. It's Teresa Blazquez Abascal and Nasser de Toxandria. The 11-year-old Met is going well, going quickly. Best place for Spain, sat in 9th at the moment. Can she better that at least? All back's gone, back rail's fallen. 68.27 would have otherwise seen her just outside the top 10, but It's been tremendous to see the form she's been in, and certainly been flying the flag high for the Spanish recently. Still more chances. There's a little grouping of Spanish riders actually, all towards the end of this class. We've still got, what have we got, 5 more riders for Spain out of the 9 that are left to jump. But we'll get to that because now it's a turn of Belgium. Niels Brunsels, Origi van der Wolfsberg, the 10-year-old by Echo van Tischbeveld out of a Clinton mare. I'm sure word will have fed back. That's what he would need to try and do. Part of Belgium's team with this horse in Brussels on that Nations Cup team that took to the podium in second. He's had some pretty decent results, but it has certainly proved to be a horse that has gone well for Belgium on teams. He's jumped on several of them. He's not hanging around, he's keeping Origi moving, but he's certainly not on the pace of the top few. He was obviously just looking for the clear, and that he's achieved. 0:73.53, 17th, 17 clears. Just inside the time allowed of 75 seconds for Niels Brunsels and Origi van der Wolfsberg. Still therefore, then it is Hans-Dieter Dreher that leads for Simon Delest, Henrik von Eckermann, the 1, 2, 3. Then it's Daniel Deusser, Michael van der Vleuten and Leopold van Asten filling out your top 6 places. Turn now of Spain's. Well, this could turn the class on its head, actually. Jesus Carametia, Echeverria, and Carias, the 13-year-old gelding by Compañero. That, well, hold tight, because if they repeat what they did last Friday night, this class is about to have another change in its leadership. Winners on the Friday in Madrid and flying on a Friday in Coruña. Gelding is so fast. Could it be 62.33? That's what it's set the aim. Is it going to be the man that won on Saturday or the man that won on Friday in Madrid that takes the Friday night? Well, he is well deserving of that round of applause because 63.23, he gets him up into second and the top of the order. That just changing all the time. Second place, Hans-Dieter Dreher is the part that hasn't changed. He's, of course, staying out in front, 62.33, 63.22, just under a second. 9/10 of a second for Jesus to get there. I mean, superb effort. Canius loving a Friday. Simon Delest falls into third. Henrik down to fourth. Daniel down to fifth. Michael down to sixth. Jesus Bamonde goes next. The Spanish stars, as I say, they sort of got stacked a little bit towards the end of the draw tonight. But when they are at home, they all try their very best to become as competitive as possible. Now, this 10-year-old by Action Breaker is AGR Troublemaker. It's had a lot of time off from the international arena this year, since jumping in for here back in February, wasn't it? February. Didn't come back until the end of October. And since then, I mean, it's also jumped plenty at 150, 155 classes in the past, but this is the first time at 150 since they've come back. And unfortunately, that has gone down. Well, they're four scored, 72-76 for Resist Baronde and AGR Troublemaker as they continue that comeback, moving back up through the heights. 6 more left to jump, 3 of which are for Spain. There's an Italian, 1 for Sweden, and the next in a moment we will see for Norway as we just catch the replays there of AGR Troublemaker. Santos Zed is the name of the horse in the saddle for Norway. Therese Henriksen. It's a 12-year-old stallion by Spartacus. Spent quite a bit of time in Spain since Oslo, back at when was Oslo? Middle of October. Then they went down to Oliva, and they've been jumping some pretty good rounds in the 3-star classes, including getting into 4th in the Grand Prix in November. Of course, we saw them in Madrid. Early fence putting pay to any chance of adding to the list of clears, of which there are 18 plus 2 on time penalties. She might just run into time penalties here. 75 seconds, and of course with a fence down, if she does go over, she's suddenly going to be on 5. And that pushes her still further down the order, unfortunately, for Therese and Santos Zed, 75-30. There is a time penalty to bring the score up to 5. And 5 more left to jump. Still Hans-Dieter leading the way. It is still Germany, Spain France. But now for Sweden, Petronella Andersson was part of the Stefex team. This horse is Opline de WNS, this lovely 10-year-old mare by Itoulon. Shown pretty good form recently, these two. They got going indoors in Lier in October, where she was second in the ranking class, the qualifier for the Grand Prix, then won that two-star Grand Prix. Verona was a very strong run as well, the equivalent class to this. On the Friday, she finished in 7th and then finished 5th in the World Cup round. Not tonight. Again, it's a fence that gets in the way, and you've got to jump clear to be in it. Unfortunately, it's a total of 871.17 for Petronella Andersson and Opline de W and S. And Zita edging ever closer. 4 more left to go. 3 in a row, though, coming now for Spain. Of course, this is Galamedina Echevarria still leading the Spanish contingent in second place for the home riders. But this is a man, this is a horse, these two, neither of which were in Madrid last week. In fact, the last time these two were out jumping internationally was back at the start of November when they won the Grand Prix down in Valencia, having finished second in the qualifier. They've jumped on a fair few Nations Cups this year as well, including the winning Nations Cup team in Deauville back in June. What can Ivan Serrano Saez and Rainman do here this evening? My suspicion is he want to jumper clear to try and get himself set up nicely into the World Cup on Sunday. Ivan on the 4, 68.70 on the clock. We're into the final 3 and 2 combination that I'm not really sure what words I should use to describe my admiration for this horse and his rider and the combination to which together they make. 19 years of age now, Rockefeller de Pleville Bois Margaux. This quite sensational gelding that has had the most phenomenal of careers. Whatever happens tonight is secondary to what they have done, including this year and recently, none more so than the massive Global Grand Prix win in Rabat in October. But it is also the fact that in the summer, when they competed in Paris, that was the 9th championship in 10 years from their debut on a championship team in Cannes in the World Games back in 2014. If you include World, European, Olympic and World Cup finals. 9 outings. There is something very special about what you're watching. It is not often you get longevity like this in a horse. It shows quite sensational horsemanship. And look at this, because I tell you, he's still moving quite quickly. He's not using all of his powers this evening, but he's used enough to get into the top 10. 7th in the order, Eduardo Alvarez-Esnoir. If there was a hall of fame for show jumping for horses in this sport, that would certainly be one that I would want to see there. There is something so special in the way that this year, I mean, that win in Rabat was one thing, but it's been a season of consistent success from those two. It is something quite special. But in terms of tonight, we're down to 2, and Andy Tadrea could well be winning another big money competition for what would be the second time in under a week, because it was Saturday night last week. It's still only Friday, as far as I'm aware, although it is now getting closer. It's what, 10 past 11 here? Mariano Martinez Bastida and jump. Last chance for Spain. By Carrera VDL. What a brilliant Grand Prix down in Olivenova back in November, then went to Stuttgart, finished 2nd. He had a tremendous start to Stuttgart. He's trying to do the same here. Well, is there a final twist? Where is this heading? Brilliant performance, 64.35. He's gone to 6th place. Just shy of Daniel Duiser, who holds on to 5th with 1 to go, but brilliantly done, Mariano Martinez Bastida and jump. Spanish riders certainly making themselves known towards the end of the draw, with 3 of them now in the top 8. But still Germany's Hans-Dieter Dreher leading the way with 1 more left to go. And could it be 5 days ago? Sunday evening in Madrid. These two stood in the centre to the Italian national anthem as the winners of the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup, the Gran Premio Ciudad de Madrid, the city of Madrid's Grand Prix. He took home over €57,000. Piergiorgio Bucci and Hantano. They won the World Cup round in the first part of this Spanish doubleheader. How's it going to start for them in the second part? Again, a little bit like you've seen with many. I just don't know that he'll let all the brakes off to chase this when Sunday is also so important. But he's got himself up and running. That's a nice little start with his 12-year-old by Quasimodo Z. He's not going to be fast enough to overtake the top of the pack, but this was about jumping a nice solid clear to make sure he feels ready to try and do a Spanish double on Sunday. He's done that and ticked that box. Piergiorgio Bucci and Hantano, which means the winner tonight is Hans Dieter Dreher. What a great class this unfolded into this evening. I do hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, because this has been quite brilliant. The Caixabank trophy on the opening night goes to Germany. Hans Dieter Dreher ahead of Jesus Garmida and Calais. Of course, it was Jesus who was the winner on Friday in Madrid. Simon Deleuze, brilliant. Dexter de Fontunas, Henrik von Eckermann, Daniel Deusser, who was leading at the break, ends up in 5th. Then you've got Mariano, Michael van der Vleuten, Eduardo Alvarez Esnaran, the great Rockefeller, Leopold van Asten, and Marco Kùhner. If you remember at the break, he was in 2nd place when I said, just see if things change. He ends up down in 10th. What a night. What sport. I love this sport. There is no better sport. And when we get to watch it at this level, it is something very, very special to behold. And tomorrow we'll bring you more, because, of course, there's some more big jumping classes for us to enjoy as we build all the way through to Sunday with the Longines FEI Jumping World Cup of A Coruña. And that World Cup class, Phil Gazara will be with you on Sunday from 5 p.m. local time here in Spain to take you through that. But I'm looking forward to tomorrow, because I'm going to be here to take you through the 2 big classes, of which the biggest is the ranking A, the Longines Grand Prix, tomorrow night, 8:30. We have the first 5-star from 6, but it's 8:30 for the big one tomorrow evening. I hope you can come back and join us here in A Coruña. I'll leave you with a presentation of awards. Another brilliant night for Hans Dieter Dreher. Most of all, though, another brilliant night for the sport, because it was absolutely top draw. Catch up soon. Thanks.
vamos ya con la ceremonia de entrega de premios de esta prueba, la grande del día de hoy, Trofeo Caixabank, con grandes jinetes peleando por la victoria y una cara sonriente, la de un hombre feliz porque ganó en Madrid una prueba y porque vuelve a ganar hoy aquí en Casas Novas otra prueba con un caballo rapidísimo como es de Cotí. Hoy no le ha traído la entrega de premios porque en Madrid dio un poquito la lata, ha cambiado de caballo para hacer las cosas más fáciles, aunque veo que el caballo se ha asustado un poquito al llegar. Vencedor de la prueba, como en Madrid, ganador, el más rápido, el aplauso para Hans-Dieter Dreher. Bueno, pues ni cambiando de caballo, vamos a ver si podemos proceder ya a escuchar las notas del himno nacional de Alemania. Hans-Dieter Dreher, ganador del Trofeo Caixabank, trofeo que le va a entregar don Juan Pedro Badiola, director territorial de la zona norte de CaixaBank. Está don Juan Pedro Badiola dirigiéndose al ganador Hans-Dieter Dreher, al que entrega la copa. Felicita por su victoria, el caballo mirando así un poquito de reojo, pero está permitiendo tanto la entrega como la foto. Bueno, nos hemos podido proceder sin mayores complicaciones esa entrega de premios al ganador, a Hans-Dieter Dreher, y ahora Rafa Pérez, en representación de Casas Novas, acude a felicitar al segundo clasificado, mejor español, segundo en la prueba anterior, segundo en esta prueba. Ese aplauso para Jesús Garmendia. Felicitaciones para Jesús, que se ha quedado a las puertas de la victoria hoy en las dos pruebas en las que ha participado. Tercer clasificado, el aplauso para el francés Simon Delastre, que montó a Dexter Fontaine. Felicitaciones para el cuarto, el número 1 del ranking mundial, el sueco Henrik von Eckermann. Y aplauso también para el quinto clasificado, otro alemán, Daniel Deusser, con Otelo de Guldenboom. Bueno, pues hemos terminado ya la entrega, así que vamos a cerrar esta primera jornada del Internacional de Casas Novas con la última vuelta de honor del día. Ha costado iniciar la vuelta de honor, pero ahí están los 5 mejores galopando ante ustedes. Hans-Dieter Dreher, ganador con Desnal de Cotí. Jesús Garmendia, segundo con Callas. Tercero, Simon Delastre, Dexter Fontaine. Cuarta posición, Henrik von Eckermann, Azaria Dinero. Quinto clasificado, el alemán Daniel Deusser con Otelo de Guldenboom. Y ahí está el ganador, segunda vuelta para él, el aplauso de despedida para Hans-Dieter Dreher. Aquí terminamos por hoy, gracias por su presencia, mañana más, esperemos que mejor, les esperamos, hasta mañana y gracias.